All right, Spin That Shit podcast. Thanks for joining me. We got a great guest today. Wild the Coyote is with us from LA to Nashville now. He's an outlaw country artist, mixing in some country blues, a little bit of hip hop flavor, doing his own thing. Very original, his own sound. No one sounds like him. I can honestly say that. And I've been following him for several years now. Got turned on to him by Yellow Wolf, seen him on tour. I've been listening to him ever since. So great to have him. We're going to talk to him in just a second about the new EP called Seven Roses. And but before we do that, I do got to say thanks for listening. Subscribe, like, hit the bell, all that stuff. Keep this podcast alive. We are growing. We've done over 50 interviews now. We're on Spotify, iTunes, you name it. YouTube, of course, if you want to watch it. We do have a Patreon now, so if you want to help us out, throw us a couple bones, keep the show rolling, and for the people that pay for a little bit more, called the Shitbacker tier, the Shitbackers, they get a little more. They're going to be ad-free episodes, some bonus content, some free stuff, early access to tickets to concerts, all that good stuff. So check it out, Patreon, Spin That Shit. Links down below in the description, you'll see it. But let's go talk to Wild the Coyote and see what he's got to say.
I love the taxidermy, dude. I'm a big taxidermy guy.
Yes. Coyote and a deer, that's all I got in this room. But
yeah,
working on a new studio and I'm just going to deck it all out,
You're a coyote too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Coyote Jet.
Coyote Jet.
Does everyone call you Coyote?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Everybody calls me Coyote and everybody wants to know what my real name is, but I just stick to Coyote.
You don't tell them?
Depends on how close we get.
I like it. Mysterious.
Yeah, I try to keep it mysterious. You got to keep the mystery element of it all intact.
So is your name Wild? Last name Coyote?
Yeah, sure.
That's great, dude.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I want to hear your story, man. Like I said, I've been listening for a while. I know you were out in LA, now you're in Nashville, doing the whole music thing. So where'd you get started? That's kind of where we should probably start. And then I want to dive into the new EP, Seven Roses.
Yeah. So I would say I started Wild the Coyote officially in 2013.
Okay.
And it was a departure from a post hardcore pop punk band that I was in. I was in a band, 5 guys. And I think I did that for almost 10 years. And it gets to this point where you're statistically, there's only one guy maybe out of a band that really wants it.
Oh, yeah.
Really wants to sacrifice everything, right? Money, relationships, location, all these things. And so it got to this point where I wanted this. I felt more than everybody else did, and in 2013, I quit my first band that I had started. And in 2 days, I started Wild the Coyote. Okay. Yeah. I started Wild the Coyote. I'm from a very small town on the central coast of California, a very one-stop light, cows more than people type town. And at that point, I was like, when you're raised in the country, the last thing you want to do is be in the country, I had moved to LA already at that point. You can't even really appreciate. I grew up with country music, hated country music. It's kind of how you want to move away from your hometown, but then you come back later, right? You're these are my roots, and you can kind of respect it. So I remember at that point just kind of leaning into it and being like, I have these roots in the country, and I love the culture of it all, I'm gonna dive back into that now, knowing what I know in the punk world per se.
Yeah.
So I wrote these songs, and I had a buddy helping me out, and we started writing these kind of like pop country songs, and they were cool, but not cool enough. So in about 2015, I scrapped that project and was gonna I did like a rebrand of this very like dark. I wanted something very, very dark, like very. I remember hearing Johnny Cash's "God's Gonna Cut You Down." Do you know that song?
Oh, hell yeah. Look, got Johnny here.
Okay, yeah. So that
Yeah.
song kind of changed my life in a sense, just the way he was able to work with these kind of industrial beats and write the country music on top of it. So I was like, I didn't particularly target that kind of style, but I knew I wanted that. I wanted it to exist in a very aggressive way. So I wrote The Phantom and the Black Crow. And the first single that came back was Man on Top of the Hill. And when I had sent it to the producer, I didn't think that it would come back with these like hard, like it's like very crusty hip hop beat with it behind it, you know, like, you know. And I was like, at first I was like, fuck, like, is this what I want to do? You know?
Yeah.
And I remember talking to my girlfriend at the time, and she was like, yeah, you should do this. And I was like, really? I was like, okay. So we leaned into it again. And so I started to really like the aspect of writing country licks, or just licks for that matter, with these beats, right? Because I've never had live drums in songs, at least not on my personal albums. So that was kind of the start of it. It was in about 2015. I wrote The Phantom and the Black Crow. I shot the music video for it. It was a very dark video. And I remember at the time, because there's a very significant point in your development where you start to lose your friends and family that support you. And you start, because they'll be like, this fucking sucks, dude, or you're getting weird, or you're getting dark.
Getting weird.
You know, I swear, the weirder you get, check it out, the weirder you get, the weirder your friends and family start to like not get what you're doing. But then at the same time, you start to develop people who are paying attention, and you start to develop fans a bit.
Yeah,
right?
you stand out, man. You're not copying
out.
everything. You're doing your own thing, and it's working.
100%. And so I noticed that, because you start to do things that other people wouldn't do. So they're paying attention, right? So that happened. And then at that point, I was producing with another gentleman, and who I'm still produced with today. And I did that. And then I caught the attention of my writing partner at the time, Bad Wolf. Him and I crossed paths. And because I was in that kind of like style where I can write guitar licks and then trust that they'll be placed onto beats, we were able to kind of write this swampy blues, twangy hip hop element of it, right?
Yeah.
So it was in my wheelhouse. And then we did that. And then at the time we were just, Bad Wolf was kind of just playing with my band, you know?
Okay.
And I did a song with him. And so I was kind of was able to exist in the hip hop world. You know, it wasn't like a weird thing. And then one time we got this phone call, and it was like, hey, Yellow Wolf is coming to LA. Obviously you guys know who Yellow Wolf is. And we want you to be in the music video. And we were like, okay, for sure. And we were big fans at the time.
Oh yeah.
This is back in 2016. No. Let me fast forward. I think at this point where it's like 2018. And after the music video, Wolf kind of came up to me and Bad Wolf and was like, hey, we want you to come out to Nashville and play at Slumfest.
Yeah.
Which is Yellow Wolf's music festival that he has here.
Yeah. At his old shop there.
Yeah, that's where the flagship store was. It was actually for his grand opening. It was super cool, man. It was like a dream come true, dude. It was like
I remember when it got released, and I was very upset I couldn't make it. Like I couldn't make it. I was out of town. I think I was in Ohio for work or something. I was like, man, I wish I had this weekend off
to come to the grand opening.
Yeah, I was going to drive down. I've drove down just to go to that flagship store for the hell of it.
Yeah.
I'm from Central Indiana, by the way, so it's about 4 hours or something.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to make my way up there for a few shows. So then we were kind of pinching ourselves, and it was so funny because when he was talking to us like we were a band, and we weren't. Bad Wolf was just playing with me on stage with my band. I had a full band.
Yeah.
And Bad Wolf and I had struck such a relationship that I would just pull Bad Wolf on stage and he would just play tambourine, for my songs. And then we would play a couple of his songs, like with a live band. And I remember my bandmates at the time being like, man, what the fuck is this guy doing on stage with you? I swear. And I'd be like, don't fucking worry about what we're doing. You know what I mean? You just fucking sit back there and play the music. Him and I got, I don't know what it is either. So I remember when Yellow Wolf was like, well, we want you guys to come play a Slumfest. And we were just like, I don't even think I heard what any detail was. I was just like, yep, yes, we'll be there, Yeah. And so I remember walking away, we got back in the car and I was like, well, I guess we got to be a band now, And so that's when we labeled our project Wild the Coyote and Bad Wolf.
Yeah.
We could both keep our identities, but still collaborate as one thing. I was like, we'll play some of my songs, we'll play some of your songs, and we'll just put together a set. So we went to Nashville in 2017 and did the Slum Fest. And then I remember shortly after that, Yellow Wolf, put a photo of us on Instagram. And shit just popped off, right?
Yeah.
It was like all of a sudden we were validated, right? Like all of a sudden and that's where I've learned this. Like, be ready, always be prepared for someone to shine a light on you and you're ready to go. Because that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
That's what luck is, right? People call me lucky, but it's not. That's just preparation meeting opportunity, right? We were ready to go. So after that, man, we went back to California, went back to LA, and it was just one show after the next. We were kind of this like knockoff Yellow Wolf act. They're like, oh yeah, we tried to get Yellow Wolf, but he's obviously too expensive. I'm like, we'll do it. You know what I mean? Like, we'll do it for like, you know what I mean? Fly us out, pay us this, feed us, we'll play. And we kind of did that for a year. Then we went back and played Slumfest again in Nashville. And then we were just touring. And then Yellowstone came up,
Yeah.
And that's a funny story too. We'll get into that too, of how we came about with Yellowstone. But and then the Ghetto Cowboy tour, and then the pandemic.
Yeah, I was gonna say the pandemic really. You guys had so much momentum at that point too.
Oh yeah, man.
I mean, a lot of people did, but you guys were really killing it.
We were really killing it. And so that was kind of when the pandemic happened, which was, I think it was in March when it officially hit. And so we were fresh off that tour. That tour ended like at the beginning of December or the end of November. And that, you know, that kind of changed everything. I came off the tour and wrote another EP. I wrote an EP called The Hollow Beyond the Thicket, which was very much, it was part 2 of Phantom in the Black Crow. Again, very niche, very dark. And I released it on Valentine's Day of 2020. And it kind of got a little like overshadowed with the pandemic, which ended up coming. So, and then the pandemic year, I mean, what I ended up doing was I leaned really into my merchandise. I had always created my own art, and I just started, because you have to learn how to interact when you're not on the road, you know, via social media. And I think at that point I was just selling things through like, DM me if you want this and I'll Venmo me the money and I'll get it out to you, you know, like super just like a lemonade stand, dude, you know.
Hey, you gotta be creative.
Yeah. And so that was a really good way to keep engaging. And then I decided I had learned how to write and record via Zoom, right? So I was like, okay, I had a couple songs in my like arsenal. So I was like, I'm gonna drop a song a month, you know, basically until this is over. Another side note that's pretty funny about the pandemic, I remember telling myself this. I was like in the back of my head, I was like, at least nobody's working, so I don't feel like the pressure. You know what I mean? Because you don't know when your next gig is. You don't know when your next tour is. You know. So I was like, well, at least everybody's on pause, so I don't really have to have pressure. I can just kind of kick back. I remember, like, dude, I was like drinking so much. I probably gained like 30 pounds during that fucking thing. And you know, I was like on easy street. So anyway, so I started to work with anybody that wanted to work, right? Producers I didn't know. And the one thing about writing with others, it's a very vulnerable state of mind. Like, it's hard, like, to come in with a stranger and write something, like, to not get in your head and be like, oh, I hope they like it. I hope I don't, you know, do they like it? You know, you learn to have kind of like, you learn to come with your sword. You know, this is who I am. This is what I write.
Yeah.
And
take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Like, I honestly had this like epiphany per se, where I was just like, this is what I do. And I never kind of looked back. It always ended up, knock on wood, it never tanked, and it always worked out, you know? So that went into 2020, and you know, the pandemic went into 2021. And then I remember going back home to my, I also lost my father in 2019 too. That was a big thing for me. Obviously in personal reasons, but imagine how much creative juice you get from that, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was a big thing. And we can go back to that too, because that happened before Yellowstone, that happened before the Ghetto Cowboy Tour, but that was a very significant thing for me, as far as being free as an artist and creatively as well. So anyway, back in 21, I went back home to visit my mom, and again, back in the country. And I was kind of like, I'm not going to leave this country town where I grew up in until I write an album. Like, I didn't know what to do next, you know? There was no tours, there was no shows. And I was like, I'm going to write this album. So that's when I wrote 7 Roses. I wrote it very quickly. I had a very different strategy about it. And so I wrote that in, I think, April of 2021. And then I I finished it. I think I finished it 2 days shy. I mean, from the moment that I like started writing it to the moment it was done, I think it was 2 days shy of 3 months. That's fast.
That's very fast.
Yeah. And I was gonna, huh?
That's very fast for anyone else in the industry for sure.
I just was like, I don't really try to overthink anything, you know? It was more about like, without questioning the integrity of the quality, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna sit on this stuff, you know? I'm just gonna put it out to the best of my ability and move on. So I remember I was gonna drop it in July. I was gonna drop it on July 7th, so that the date was 777 roses, right?
Yeah.
And then I got a publicist, and they're like, they taught me this whole, well, I kind of have this like ideology, not an ideology, but like this like strategy where I never like to repeat the same way I do things twice, right? Not to say that if it's not broke, don't fix it, but more like, you know, I had released The Hollow Beyond the Thicket in 2022, just whim, bam, boom. And it kind of was like, people didn't get to know it, you know, as much as I'd like to. So I'm like, okay, what can I do now? I got to strategize a little bit differently. So I got a publicist, and I was like, they're like, no, we're going to space these singles out 6 weeks apart. We're going to shoot music videos, and we're going to drop the album after that. And I remember doing the math, and I'm like, you want to drop it in 2022? This was June of 2021. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to like these fucking songs in 2022. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know if I'm going to exist in 2022. So I remember we released Silver Round Bullet, and then we released the music video, and then Under the Weather, music video for Under the Weather. And then finally, we were in January 14th of 2022, and I released Seven Roses. And then I thought that I would be on tour at that point. I'm like, oh, I'll be on tour at that point. No tour. And I remember taking a meeting in December, right before 2022. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, you know, kind of what I'm going to do. And this dude was like, you should go to Nashville. And I was like, he didn't have to say anything else. I was like, I should go to Nashville. You know what I mean? I love Nashville. I always loved Nashville. And so at that point, I think it was, I don't know, maybe 5 weeks from the moment that guy planted that seed in my brain to the moment I packed up my truck, sublet my apartment in LA, and I just drove out here, you know?
Yeah.
I booked a show in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and kind of hit the ground running, thank God, when I got here. And now I'm not leaving. So I've officially moved here. And so now I'm in Tennessee, and I'm working on the next album. I've got a, you know, string of shows now booked up. So the summer is looking like it has a lot of light to it. So here I am, dude. That's the story in a nutshell.
Dude, that's great.
It really is.
Yeah, big life changes, you know, you go through, anyone that's creative. I went to school for photography, and I do taxidermy. I feel like I'm creative, and I do a lot. And I've always, you know, loved music and played music in high school and punk bands and all that shit. And any big life-changing experience, like say moving to Nashville, like your next record is going to be something totally different than before. You're not going to be copying yourself because you went through this. Probably the same way when you know, lost your father. What that all entailed after when you wrote all that stuff. So yeah, that I'm excited to hear what this new one will be like.
And you know what? You know, to your point, like, I'm a huge advocate on taking risks. You have to take risks, right? And so much of my life is based on sacrifice, right? And when you're constantly changing your comfort zone, right? You're never settling down. There's always this new element of shock, fear, joy, pride. So you're able to like develop new colors to your repertoire of like what you're painting with. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's, and again, like tragedy, loss, gain, strength, new territory, new people. I mean, dude, California, born and raised, to the South. I mean, I've been in the South now for 5 months. Culture shock,
Oh,
you know?
absolutely. My brother lived in LA for a while.
Want to know the biggest culture shock?
What's that?
I can't get weed anywhere. I miss that Cali weed.
Oh, I bet, man. You probably have to deal with dirt weed now.
I don't even know what I'm smoking. You know what I mean? I remember I used to go to, I would go to the dispensary. They're open 24 hours basically on every block where I live. And they, you know, you want this, that. You know, I'm like, oh, I don't know, just give me this. And now I'm like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, no, I'm just joking. But no complaints. I really, you know, everything is about timing too. You know, the timing of everything. The universe can kind of let you know when you're ready for certain things and when you're not. So, yeah, and you know, I try to take advantage of everything around me, you know, and this is a very, I don't want to say ruthless, but like, you have to really make the most of it all the time, especially in my case where I've still gone on with no representation. I do everything myself. I have one agent for my music that goes on TV and film. Other than that, I'm my own manager. I'm my own tour manager. I'm my own booking agent. Like, just because I have such a grip on this thing, it's going to be really hard for someone to try to pry it away from me, you know, and
oh yeah,
and kind of equal how much I care, how passionate I am, and how far I'm willing to go with it. So, yeah, man, it's just, I don't know. It's been nothing but great. And it's been, you know, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, you know.
I mean, clearly you love what you do. I mean, you have
Yes.
to, in that world, you have to, or you just won't, you'll fade out and you won't be around, or you'll just give up, you know.
Totally.
But I think the first time I heard you, let's see, the Boondocks, man, that had me hook, line, and sinker. That's such a catchy song, especially when you get towards the end of it, when you're pretty much shouting and it just like rage, you know, takes you up. Then once you got with Bad Wolf, Old Man is my shit right there. I could listen to that song every day. It's that swampy blues slide in there. It's nasty. It's so good. Then the newer stuff, Silver Round Bullet, I really like that track a lot. That, and the music video is great too. Whoever shot that was good. They did a good job.
Yeah, that was Bryant Jung. I met him through Yellow Wolf's camp. Great, young, talented. These kids these days, dude, they're so talented. You know,
technology has just gotten so crazy and more accessible.
Yeah.
And yeah, these younger guys that know how to.
Yeah, he shot both the music videos. But yeah, the Boondocks was that was a riff. That you know what's so funny about that song? I used to play that song in high school, which is a million years ago. And I used to just, you know, we would go to bonfires and stuff, and I would just play that like, there goes some stupid bitch. You know what I mean? Like I would just freestyle, you know what I mean? And just say dumb shit. And then when I rewrote it, I used that lick, and it is probably the biggest staple song that I have. It's the opener at my shows. And because it just paints such a picture of this like world that I'm continuing to develop. But in the same breath, Silver Round Bullet is my favorite song. I really love to play and sing that song. I feel like it has so much to it, in a lot of aspects. So 2 good songs that you brought up. And Old Man too. I remember writing that song as well.
Yeah, that's catchy.
Yeah.
So Bad Wolf, you guys, obviously he's staying in his area. You guys ever going to collab again, or just?
He's in Utah.
He's in Utah?
Yeah. As for now, we're just doing our own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. He's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, and we'll just leave it at that.
When the Ghetto Cowboy tour, what year was that?
That was at the end of 2019.
Okay. So before all the madness, pretty much.
Right.
That's right. It was like in December. Yeah. When I saw you in Indy.
Yeah. We left October 8th, 2019. And we came back right before Thanksgiving, I remember.
Okay. So just November. That was a great show, because I was going in, I brought a buddy, and I was like, dude, you guys check this set out. Because we've seen Yellow Wolf, I don't even know how many times, really. I actually I mounted him a catfish for Catfish Billy. Put the Slumerican logo on it. I'll throw a picture up on this video, whoever's watching.
Is that the one you used on a shirt? No.
No, wasn't that one. Okay. He went noodling with Cambo, and he had noodled one in Bama, and I had this replica catfish I made for him, and put the Slumerican flag logo spray painted on the side of it, and like golded out the whiskers on it, and put some gold flake on it, put it on a piece of wood, and gave it to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know where it ever ended up. Hopefully it made it home. Who knows?
This is like a physical catfish?
Yeah. I'll send you a picture later. Yeah.
We love gifts. To anybody listening, we love gifts.
Oh, he was stoked about it. Because I surprised him with at the show.
It's crazy, man. Like some of the coolest shit I have is from just fans,
Yeah, fan art and stuff.
Oh my God. Knives. I have my wallet that I have. I've had this since I think the 2018 Slumfest. He came and gave it to me, and it was like, it's beautiful. One time I got the lid of a barrel, right? So imagine how big that is, right? Like that. with the Phantom and the Black Crow artwork on the side. It said the Phantom and the Black Crow, had like my logo on it. I was like, it showed up on my parents' house, which I was like, my parents are like,
oh, it just showed up. He didn't give it to you in person?
Showed up. I mean, it's crazy how belts, I've had hats with my lyrics on it. Like, it's really, I mean, you don't know how blessed you are sometimes when you start getting cool shit like that,
Yeah, it's kind of surreal.
It was super surreal. Oh God, this whole thing is surreal to me, which is probably why I protect it so much, because I always feel like tomorrow it's over.
Yeah, you just never know. You just got to keep grinding.
You never know. Yeah.
So you said you're working on a new project. When will that be out roughly, or do you even know yet? Just kind of going with it.
Well, I have multiple projects in the works. So I have the next album that I'm writing, I've demoed already. So I have about 11 songs that I've demoed. Again, it's going to be all me, but it's very swampy. I'm basically like doing a lot of the licks that I would have done with me and Bad Wolf, crossed with what I would have done with myself. And so I have this like very aggressive, swampy album coming up, which I think is going to be great. I think it'll come out probably in the beginning of next year.
Okay.
I'll probably drop a single to that towards the end of the year. And but in the meantime, remember when I told you that I had written an album before I scrapped everything back in 2013. And it was like this very kind of like poppy country. It was very eclectic, different sounds. Well, I revisited that.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this album fucking smokes. Like, this is great. I'm dead ass. Like, it's not, because since, you know, people who know me as well, you know, when Wild the Coyote started with Phantom and the Black Crow, I've gone on to do singles like Dog Days, Into the Ground, you know, 70 Days, Haunted Every Day, which is out of my norm, but people like it. People really like the range of it, you know? Some of it's poppy, some of it's electro, some of it's punk. And like, I can see that it like, huh?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. I was just thinking of all those. One part like popped up. I can't even remember what song. I was just like, it's like a Imagine Dragons type of feel to one.
Yes.
Really. And that shit's hot right now. Like people love that stuff.
So exactly. And I remember when I really scrapped that album. I'm like, this is never going to work, dude. And this is going to label me as some sort of pussy. Basically is my thought process. And so I scrapped it and then rebranded everything. And then I stumbled upon it like a month ago. And I'm like, now's the time. Now people will get it. Because people have given me the time of day. You know what I mean? Like people, they want to hear this stuff. So I have this new album coming out. Should I tell the title now?
That's up to you, man. I'm always open for, it's a first on the podcast.
Let's make this podcast the best podcast where I'm going to drop the title of it, right?
Behind the scenes, yes.
So I have an album coming out. The first single is going to come out on July 15th. It is going to be a very party song, very pop country, but I have to take advantage of the summer, right? I need people, you know, partying to this song, and I've had it forever. So I have a 10-song album coming out, which is the most songs I've had on an album coming out. It's going to be called B-Sides, Breakups, and a Bag of Buried Songs, which is all songs I wrote almost 10 years ago. And there'll be 3 singles put out, and the album will be dropped in October. So the full album, full 10 songs, but it'll come with a single on July 15th, another one in August, and then another one in September. And then I'll drop the album in October. So we'll be busy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And so that'll be good. And then hopefully by that time I will have written the next Wild the Coyote EP, which would be the follow-up to Seven Roses. Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to tour behind this record?
Well, yeah.
I know you mentioned something about Indy, and I'll definitely be there.
So right now, so I had a tour booked in July, which would have already passed, where I would have been going through the Midwest and into the West Coast, and it got canceled, unfortunately. So now I'm going to be starting a residency here in Nashville, where I'm going to play 3 shows. So I have yet to tour Seven Roses, right?
Right, yeah.
So now I'm going to play 3 shows once a week at this bar in East Nashville called Underdog. And I'm going to do that. And then I go to Georgia. I play a couple shows there. And then I think Chattanooga. So July is busy. August, I will be with a booking agent and hopefully get put back on the road to where I can, the biggest goal for me is to go at least 6 weeks out on the road, to go revisit. I mean, man, I haven't besides Los Angeles and Southern California, I haven't been on the road since the Ghetto Cowboy Tour in 2019, which is really tough on me. That's really hard. But I mean, even when I talk to my booking agent, like, it may feel like we're out of the pandemic, but in a lot of aspects we're not, you know? So if I could leave you with this, expect a tour from me before the end of the year where I will like clap out a handful of shows around the US and hopefully get into Canada. I have a big fan base in Canada, which is crazy.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
The Underdog, by the way, awesome spot.
Yeah.
I know some
really
buddies
great.
that play there. Todd Dayway, I don't know how often you visit over there, but he plays over there. And several other guys that I hang out with. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'll be at the Indy show if you can make it to Indy, or maybe even Louisville or Cincy. It's close enough.
For sure.
So,
yeah, I'm trying to get up there.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, man, I appreciate your time. Like I said, it means a lot for me to have you on the show. So
yeah, of course.
Maybe we can revisit some of this later on down the road after, more music comes out and more touring and whatever else life throws at you.
Yeah, for sure. I do a lot of podcasts and, if there's anything else that you want to ask me, non-music related, I'm a very cultured guy, everybody. You know what I mean? I just, I have a lot of other interests, like pussy, money, respect. No, I'm just joking.
That's the next line of t-shirts. Pussy, money, respect.
No, I'm just joking. I'm a big sports nerd, and pool. I'm big into pool lately. I
knew you were in the sports and that Ghetto Cowboy Tour. Before the show was even gonna hit, there's a walking distance little bar around the corner.
And I was watching the game.
Yeah, we were gonna go have a couple drinks, and I walked in, and you were just sitting at the bar watching the Dodgers game. I believe no, Rams, LA Rams that time of year.
Yeah, because the baseball season would have been ended. Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah, it was definitely a football game.
Yeah.
But anyway, I came up to you. I was like, dude, what the hell are you doing here? This is awesome. I think we had a shot, and then you're like, they're calling me. I got to get the hell out of here.
Was I with Clever?
You're by yourself. No.
Oh, that makes more sense. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, man. You kind of want your alone time.
Yeah. You got.
And everybody's so shocked always that I'm super into sports, and I really am. I grew up playing sports. They used to call me the punk. Yeah, they used to call me the punk rock jock in high school. And I remember when we were in LA, hometown show for me, and I was in my dressing room with my iPad streaming the Laker game because it was opening day for the Lakers. And I'm like watching the game. Yellow Wolf is sitting like right here, and he's like, are you watching the game? I was like, I have to watch it. You know what I mean? Like it's opening day. Like I have to watch this game. Like all the time I'll be streaming back in my dressing room. I'll be streaming some sort of game. But when you saw me, I was probably watching the Rams game. Which is funny because we just won the Super Bowl. Right. And you watch these games religiously, and I'm living in LA, and the Rams are kicking ass. And the date where I was supposed to move out here was February 11th, and the Super Bowl is on February 13th in LA.
Dude.
So I'm like, everyone's like, where are you going to watch the game? I'm like, in LA. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving until because I had already planned, but we were still in the playoffs. I didn't know if they were going to make it to the Super Bowl. So I'm like, I'm going to watch in LA. And they're like, okay, cool. But I had so much anxiety, because I had to drive out here, bro. That's not You know
No,
what I mean?
yeah,
I might go down the road. Yeah. So I drove all the way out here and I'm like, oh, I'll be invited to so many Super Bowl parties. You know what I mean? Like I'll be invited to so many parties. That's always my mindset. And nobody invited me to anything. So I just went and I remember where I wore my fucking strapped up in my Rams jersey, hit a bar in Midtown here in Nashville. I had a ball though.
Oh yeah.
Just wasn't, would have been nice to watch it in LA, but yeah, that was the irony of the whole LA Super Bowl, me in Nashville thing. But
That's yeah. That would be tough to leave.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm a big sports fan, and we had all the great years in Indy with Peyton Manning. So
true.
when we finally got the ring, I was pretty much going crazy that year.
True. Andrew Luck never won anything.
No, I got us through some tough spots in the playoffs a little bit, and then he just injuries. Then he just didn't want it anymore and kind of gave up.
Well, so now being in Nashville, they have the Titans.
Yeah.
And they don't even call themselves the Nashville Titans. They're the Tennessee Titans, right? Then I got the Memphis Grizzly, who I really like. I mean, I'm a diehard Laker fan, but
yeah, the Memphis is scrappy basketball wise. Like I like them.
Memphis is sick as fuck. I fuck with Memphis big time. I was rooting for them in the playoffs, but even though they're a young team, they're so sick. But I know for baseball, Nashville has the Nashville Sound, which is a minor league team.
Yep.
Still, not pro. And they got the Tennessee Titans. So I know that the Rams play the Titans in November, so I'll be there, lock, stock, and barrel. But other than that, like it's okay to have a sister team. I'll take the Titans if I'm not rooting for the Rams.
Yep, I feel you. I grew up playing basketball and sports and baseball. We don't have a major league team here, but we're right in the center of.
You're the Pacers.
Yeah, basketball, but baseball.
No,
we have Indianapolis Indians, which minor league. But so that puts us in the center of I'm either going to Chicago for a team or go the other way to Cincinnati and you got the Reds.
We just swept the Reds.
I know. Quit bringing it up. What the fuck, man? We've had a lot of rough years now.
I think you're going to keep having rough years. So are you going for any Chicago teams or are you going for Cincy teams?
Not really. I've never been a real big Cubs fan, but my buddy used to live like right by Wrigleyville. So for a short time, I was kind of rooting for him a little bit. But no, I'm pretty much a Reds guy.
So. All right. I ain't mad at it. You know what I mean? I rooted for the Lakers, Rams, and Dodgers when they sucked.
Yeah. You ride it till it's over. You
ride it till it's over.
You don't jump ship. You just because
I know.
Fucking right now, I hate those guys.
I was talking to someone last night, and the Dodgers just lost to the Rockies last night, and she was like, "Better start rooting for another team." And I was like, "That's blasphemy!" Like, I ride this thing till the wheels fall off. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Don't even bring that up again.
Don't even bring that up again, lady.
So you were saying, I do got to mention, since we're talking, you said you grew up on country music. Do you know, can you throw out some names? Like
100%.
Popular?
The most popular was Alan Jackson.
Oh yeah. Still great.
Obviously. Yeah. I'm from the Central Coast. So I'm from a town called Templeton, which even when they like put the weather out on the local news channel, like it wouldn't even come up. You know what I mean? It would be we were like too small. So it'd be Paso Robles, which Paso Robles has become it's wine country now. It's like, I think it's Oprah's like top 5 places to visit.
Oh, damn.
But that's where the California Mid-State Fair is. So Garth Brooks and Dunn, Alan Jackson would come there. And
I've
I
seen
remember,
all of
yeah, I
them.
mean, huh?
I've seen all of them in concert too.
Yeah. So, it was that. I remember, my dad he owned a liquor store in Paso Robles, and he would always have K-Jug Country come out there, and they would, so it was just like, you just growing up being like, fuck this, dude. You know what I mean? Grab your skateboard.
Oh yeah,
Get out of
I
here.
hated same thing, man. I heard all the country stuff when I was younger and growing up, and I didn't even start messing with any sort of country music till probably college years. I was listening to I kind of started in the pop rap era, and then it kind of crossed over to the metal and hardcore, and then I was listening to some heavy ass shit.
Totally.
A little bit of punk stuff in like middle school and country or high school. I see your Misfits shirt, by the way. Then,
I love the Misfits, man. Yeah, I'm a big Misfits.
Legends.
But you know what? That was just kind of the culture, and I was growing up in the 90s. And like, you're growing up, you're watching Saved by the Bell, right?
Yeah.
And they always hung out at the mall or whatever. Like, the mall was a big thing. We didn't have a mall. You know what I mean? We had hay bales. So it's like we had 4-H, FFA.
Hey, I showed hogs in 4-H, man.
I showed lambs. I showed steer, bro. Come on.
I know, man. No one gets me, man. Like, I built a chicken coop, and I had Tupac. I was building a chicken coop, and I had Tupac blaring out there.
Yeah, totally.
Like, nobody. Isn't that crazy?
Think one of my first cassettes that I listened to. I'll tell you the most significant 3 albums that I listened to growing up from my cousins who lived in LA. They would come up and visit us. Snoop Doggy Dogg Doggy Style.
Yeah.
Cassette. This had to be like 1993.
Yep.
1994. Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. Back into Hell. And the most significant one that changed my life was Green Day Dookie.
Dude, that's crazy, because I do hear elements of Green Day in you sometimes.
Well, it's funny because I really, really studied Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day and his voice. And I do a lot of fluctuation that he does. Just that's how I learned to sing.
Yeah.
And then I'll never forget when Blink-182 came out. And again, like, when you're living in such a podunk town, you don't get like underground music. You get mainstream music.
Yeah.
Right. And so I remember getting a Blink-182 tablature book. I learned how to play Enema of the State. This is in like 1999. And I apply that same style of writing now. I just add slide. I just add, they're very simple licks. People ask me like, oh, can you teach me how to play this? Or you teach me how to play this? And I'm like, it's just 3 notes the whole time, like, yeah. I really don't, like I said, I don't overthink it. I try to make things as melodic, catchy, and dark as possible,
Yeah.
And that's kind of been my MO this whole time. But yeah, that's where I kind of came from. Hating country music, loving hip hop, and obsessing over punk.
That makes the Coyote. Wild the Coyote.
That makes the Coyote. Yeah. That's the recipe.
Yeah. I hear all those elements too. And I didn't think about this until we first started the podcast, when you brought up that Johnny Cash hurt.
Yes.
Shit he did in the 90s like that. I hear a lot of that too, especially you have a deeper voice too than most.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all works well, and it's a unique thing and good blend.
Yeah, that was kind of like my ace in the hole was how low I can sing. And I can sing low, very low, and very Johnny Cash-esque without sounding too much like Johnny Cash. And it's funny because, like, I'll talk to people, and I'll never forget this one time I came to some guy's studio, and he was such a schmuck, and I hope he's not listening to this. And I get there and I say, hey, I'm Coyote, happy to be here. And he goes, oh, your voice is a lot higher than what I had pictured. And I was so pissed. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, I was so emasculating to me. I was like, what the fuck did you say? You know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to talk like? You know what I mean? Like, how do you want me to say? You know what I mean? How you doing? I'm Wild the Coyote. You know what I mean? I was like, you know what, dude? You know, so, but I was on the phone with somebody else for the first time. And they're like, I love that your voice is like, you know, do I have a high voice? I don't think I have a high voice.
No.
It's normal.
Oh.
It's normal. Yeah. But yeah, when I got to turn it on, I got to turn it on.
Yeah.
Just like screamers, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, and that's what I kind of, when I was younger, I was in anything aggressive as fuck, you know, just watch.
Yeah.
Some of that shit I still like, but once you learn more about music and how that stuff is produced behind the scenes, it kind of turned me off, you know, like the right equipment and gear and tweaking things, everybody can sound like the devil. Like,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is. It's its own art for sure. And I still go back to it and listen to a lot of different shit. But I don't know. Most of the stuff I listen to these days, half the people are dead. You know, like I think Jimmy Rogers is one of my favorite all-time artists, you know.
From Jimmy Rogers?
Yeah, from the 30s. You like dark. See, this is where I think you need to go down this road, and I'll send you some shit. I think you go down there because the darkness that you talk about in your songs and the sounds. When you think of banjo, probably most people, they think of the Beverly Hillbillies or whatever bright, piercing. Dude, there's some such dark folk music. It's folk country, and kind of the same stuff that you get with the Delta rhythm and blues type shit. Man and his guitar just finger picking out. There's some of the most murder ballad songs, some of the most darkest shit is in those early recordings, man, that I bet you could pull some stuff out of that and go with it.
Yeah, man. You know, my favorite music, and I hope to one point do this. This is like my personal goal. And you'll hear it in like From the Grave to the Stars or Haunted Every Day. I'm very much into like 1950s doo-wop. Like my favorite song. Yes, my favorite song. Someone could ask me, what's your favorite song? 100% The Marvelettes, Mr. Postman. That is my favorite song ever written. Whenever that song, I mean, Dion and the Belmonts, like, you know, Elvis, like I grew up on Frank Sinatra, like this kind of stuff. So I really hope, okay, the Misfits. And I know this might be, you know, shocking to some people, but my favorite, Glenn Danzig is obviously the legend, but like Michael Graves, who wrote Famous Monsters, he wrote a song called Saturday Night, which is this like very gothic doo-wop song. And it changed my life. Like I really want to write something that's, you know, in that realm. And I hope to get to it one day to where I can write a whole doo-wop album, you know, with
Dude, go for it.
Yeah, I will. It's definitely a project that I really want to do.
A doo-wop album though, like trying to make it dark. That is tough. You think of the
I'm trying. I mean, I tried to make it with From the Grave to the Stars and Haunted Every Day. Haunted Every Day, people kind of said it sounded a little more punky, but my whole intention was that it was going to be a doo-wop song. And it takes a lot of like, ooh, wee, you know what I mean? Like you're doing all these like really crazy things. But that's all me, by the way, doing all those background vocals. If people thought it was a woman.
That's why that guy was talking about your voice being so high.
And I was wearing a dress when I went into the studio. I don't know what his deal was.
No, that'd be awesome, Dave. If you pull off a doo-wop album, especially in this day and age, like the sky's the limit, man. Like everything's been done, you know what I mean, a million times over at this point. Unless they invent a new instrument, it's not really going to change. So you can, that's where the beauty of blending all this stuff and making it new sounds.
Yeah, for sure. And like everything has been done. And like, I'll take Seven Roses and maybe I'll leave you with this. So when I started writing Seven Roses, and everybody take this with a grain of salt, please. Don't think that I'm like up the ass of what I'm about to say. But at this point, again, my favorite band in the world is Blink-182. It was the first band I was a teenager. I was living in the country. They were amazing. I loved everything about them. That's how I learned how to play the guitar. That's what it was. So you fast forward till now, that was 20 years ago when they kind of popped on the scene. Machine Gun Kelly came out with Tickets to My Downfall. Yes. And when I heard Tickets to My Downfall, I was like, oh, and produced by Travis Barker, an idol of mine. I was like, oh, you just rewrote all these punk songs and you made them 2021 version or 2022 version. So I thought to myself, well, then I can do the same thing. So I formatted all my songs into punk, verse, chorus, bridge, out. I didn't overthink anything. I wrote it. I wrote these licks and then I added slide. So I just basically put my spin on it. But I grew up listening to punk. I mean, again, like it wasn't like it was Blink-182, and that just spawned my love for punk music. So I just wrote Seven Roses is my I wrote a bunch of punk songs and I added a bunch of twang elements to it. I did my thing to it. And it was really easy for me that way to write and not overthink and just, I just added slide and I did my thing vocally and it landed, it did well. So I feel like it repeats itself. You know what I mean? Like influences repeat itself. And,
I
think.
So like, it's just that new generation of kids that didn't grow up on that. Or
right.
Hearing it in this new form. It's just a revolving door.
Yeah.
That's why, that record, I actually like the record and it blew up for him. Machine Gun Kelly stuff.
Yeah, it was great.
So yeah, it's just one of them things. So I think that's great too that you brought back your old stuff that you threw out and revisited.
Because dude, it's like I do have this belief that music has a shelf time, right? I could write something today and in a year, I don't want to release it. It doesn't make sense to me. But the fact that I had this in the closet, on a shelf for almost 10 years, now it makes sense more than ever. You know what I mean? So it kind of, to be an artist and an artistic, creative mindset, you have to be so open-minded, And so it's like, wow, it makes sense to me now. The lyrics are relevant. The music is relevant. And I have this platform of people that will really appreciate the songs. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm singing about fucking, losing my virginity and, jacking off or some, you know what I mean? It's not like some dumb shit.
Yeah, well,
it's real. It was real then. It's real now.
That's what I do. I will applaud you on that too, by the way. That's one thing. I can do all genres of music. Pop country is really rough for me. It's the radio version, what's considered pop country. And it's not because the music's not a good time and people or whatever. It's the lyrical content. It's really vague. They're not saying anything. There's no message. It's let's get a beer and sit on the tailgate type shit. You know what I mean? Your shit has lyrical content about what you're going through. The Seven Roses is all about it. The thank you goodbye song at the end, all that. You have meaning to your lyrics. That's why I mess with it. You know what I mean? A lot of that stuff, I just can't do it. Any genre of music, I'm there as long as there's some content.
Totally.
Lyrical content.
Yeah.
We didn't touch on that. That's why I want to make sure we got that in there. I really appreciate you diving into lyrics.
I really appreciate that too. And, I think that that's why it's sometimes, because I had kind of like writer's block, not writer's block, but like after Seven Roses, I'm shooting this documentary right now too, right? It's like the 6-episode documentary. We just did an episode the other day because now I'm in this new house here in Nashville, very off in the country, and very more creative for me. And I tried to write before when I was in this other house in East Nashville, and nothing came to me, and nothing came to me, and nothing came to me. But a lot of the things that I write, I try to go as dark as possible I can with it, which isn't necessarily my thought process. You know, sometimes I have to go into character to say things that I would not say. I mean, there's songs in The Hollow Beyond the Thicket was probably the darkest one. There's things that I say in that are just morbid, like dark. The Mayor, when in Phantom of the Black Crow, I would go the longest time without singing that because I thought that I exploited my dad's circumstance in a way that I would never speak. Like, I just feel like sometimes when I write lyrics, I just take things a little too far for myself, but they're not too far for Wild the Coyote, if that makes sense. Not to say that I'm not him, or they're not two and one in the same, but sometimes I exhaust myself from going that deep to be like, all right, how am I going to say this? You know what I mean? Like, because I don't want to say things that are easy to say. I want to say things that are dark. I want to say things that are going to hurt, but make sense for me and for you, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's how people can relate to it.
Exactly.
Like, went through something fucked up or whatever, and they're like, all right, I know what he's talking about. I feel this too. This is my jam. Like,
totally. And like, there's this song on The Hollow Beyond the Thicket called The Letter to Rose, where I write, the story is about a man writing about his wife who died. But I wrote that about my mom living as my dad died. But the way I write it was that the man, so I had to write it through a man's perspective. I had to write it that he kills himself. No, he attempts to kill himself. Like, so there's all these things that, like, I've never gone through, but in this world, that's how I feel it, emotionally. Like, emotionally, I'm living these ways out. And so, again, it's not that I had writer's block. It was that I don't know if I can reach down in there yet, and pull this shit up, and like, because sometimes I'm like, whoa, that was dark, and that's just how I don't know. And I won't stop. That's how I'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is probably for millions of people that go this route, but for me, and it sounds like probably for you, for sure, the act of you making music is your therapy. Me, I can't sing. I already know that. I play banjo, and that is all therapy for me. And listening to music is all therapeutic. It makes me feel good. I mean, I will be down. You can ask my wife, like, I will be depressed if I can't have music, on all the time. If I'm going right down the street, I got to put on something, doesn't even matter if we'll be in the car for 2 minutes.
Same. Yeah.
And at work, I get to work in one area, I can turn on whatever I want. It's just such a part of my life. Like, I couldn't imagine it without it. It's therapy. That's what I say to myself. It's the only way I can make it make sense, especially when I'm buying all these damn concert tickets and hurting the wallet all the damn time. It's like, that's my therapy fee right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah, it works. It's a whole thing,
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
That's right. Right on, man. Well, thanks again. This has been great. I love chatting with you. I'll hit you up next time I'm in Nashville or whatnot.
Please
come
do.
through every now and then.
Yeah.
And I'll be watching for the tour dates to be announced for sure.
Yeah. I think it'll be next Monday.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let me
any last thing you want to say? Make this quick. I got to do quick. Who's your favorite West Coast rapper? I do want to know that of all time.
West Coast rapper of all time. I mean, we can go throw it back. Like I would go Andre Nicotina from the Bay Area. I really like Mac Dre from the Bay Area. But if we go to Southern California, Kendrick has been great. Obviously Snoop, Dre, The Game. To be honest with you, I don't listen to a lot of like NWA, obviously. I mean, you want to give it up to the legends.
Gotta pick one now.
That I listen, huh?
You gotta pick one.
Oh, West Coast rapper?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with Nicotina.
Nicotina.
Andre Nicotina. That's underground. If I could go one, I'll go with Kendrick Lamar. I really like Kendrick Lamar. But I listen to a lot of rap. I probably listen to more rap than I do anything else. And but the boys I listen to are from New Orleans. I listen to a lot of that goth rap. So
okay.
Who's your favorite West Coast rapper?
I mean, I remember getting a Tupac album when I was in 4th grade and not telling my parents and putting that shit on, So Tupac to me has always been a poet. And I liked Snoop's early stuff for sure. Then I got an Ice Cube for a long time too.
Sure.
NWA and all that. Who do you like out of New Orleans?
Suicide Boys.
Yeah, they're coming here in a couple months on a Friday. I'm definitely going, which is the craziest little tour lineup they got going on. They're mixing it with some of them hardcore bands that I like.
Yeah.
It's like this rap mixed with this edgy hardcore shit. There will be mosh pits at these shows for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's 100%. Gonna be wild as hell.
Yeah.
So, dude, what we've totally spaced it. What part 2 here? I want to know how you ended up on the Yellowstone, which is a pretty sweet TV series. I watch it.
It's kind of like the TV series.
Right now, it's probably the number one.
Anybody, if I ever want to legitimize my career to somebody, all I have to do is drop the fact that I have songs on Yellowstone, and they're like, you know what I mean? You earned your stripes right there. Like they're just like, oh, what? No way. So the show is just, I kind of feel like it's like, remember when Sons of Anarchy was on the air? Like it was just the show. You know what I mean? And so I just feel like it's like that. Like everybody watches it. I have yet to see it, but I'm going to. I can't wait. I feel like I'm so far behind now that I feel like I just want to wait till it like all comes out.
Yeah.
So, but that story is really funny, really organic. And so I think it was like 2018, and we were playing a show. Me and Bad Wolf were playing a show in Salt Lake City, Utah. And it was like right at the end or in the middle of the Sundance Film Festival, right? Okay. Where all the indie films go. It's a huge indie film festival.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're playing a show, and somebody's like, oh, Taylor Sheridan's going to be like the MC of the show. And I was like, okay, I don't know who that is, but sure, And so I'm like, in my dressing room, like my green room before the show, and I'm like minding my own business. I think on this tour I was also dead sober. Okay, so dead sober at a show, you kind of have a lot less time for people. You know what I mean? you might be a little edgy,
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, like I'm in my green room, minding my own business, and then all of a sudden it's like big dude like comes in there, and he's with this gorgeous lady, and just like all fucked up, and we're like, hey, we're gonna MC the show tonight, like grabbing me, well, I gotta show, just like wilding out back there. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, get the fuck out of here, you know? And so, I have a movie and, kind of giving me like the Hollywood runaround, you know? And I was like, whatever. So we go and play the show. And then we play the show, we come back, and here he comes. Oh, and he does MC the show. So he's legit. Then he comes back after the show and he's like, oh my God, you guys, I fucking love your music. I fucking love your music, like over the moon about the show. And he's like, I got a TV show coming out. It's called Yellowstone. I want to get you on there. Here, take my number. And again, I'm still thinking like, back up, dude. And like, just run in your mouth, you know? Because I'm from LA, dude. I'm from LA. Like, that's what they do, you know? So, all right, I'm going to call you, blah, 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 blah. So like a week goes by or 2 weeks go by and my phone rings. I'm back in LA now. My phone rings and it's Taylor Sheridan. And I answer the phone and he's like, not that guy from the green room. This guy's like fucking 007 now. He's like pure business.
All
like,
business.
Hey, yeah, all business, dude. Hey, Coyote, this is Taylor Sheridan. And I just want to let you know that we would like to purchase some songs from you. I would really advise you get representation, like all serious. I was like, oh, fuck. All right. We're not so fucking drunk now, you know? And so
work hard, play hard, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And so I, at the time, was just getting represented for, for music to be in TV and film. So it was perfect timing. And sure as shit, they bought like, I think one song, I think it was Old Man. And so they came to LA because I think they were shooting in Montana or something. They came to LA for the premiere at Paramount. So we played like their rap party. We played there, we performed for them there. So it was like moving, you know? And then the next night we did the red carpet because for this, like, this was Paramount's first series, Paramount Network's first series. So it was a very big deal. So we went to the Paramount lot and we walked the red carpet. It was far out, you know, like fucking far out.
Yeah, I remember the pictures of that. I remember seeing that.
Yeah. And then we all go to the premiere and Taylor like delivers this big speech and he even thanks us in the speech. I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking crazy. And then after the show, like the DJ spinning and they're kind of, they played our song one time. It was incredible. Lo and behold, the producers don't pick up the song for season 1. So we didn't even make it into season 1. We did all that. We didn't even make it in there. So I'm like, yeah, that makes more sense knowing my luck, you know? So fast forward to season 2, they picked up 3 songs, legitimately 3 songs. So we went and did the kind of whole red carpet for season 2. We made sure that, it was kind of stamped, sealed, and delivered at that point. But we did that.
We're doing this again.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so yeah, we did that and it was great. 3 songs, I guess in the long run, 3 songs was better than just the 1 song, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great exposure.
So yeah, man. And it just changed a lot of things for the better. And then right after that, Taylor has another show called The Mayor of Kingstown with Jeremy Renner. Yeah, with Jeremy Renner, and they picked up a few songs too. So great. Taylor has definitely kept us in the loop, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and he's just got show after show coming out. I think he's got 1883. He's got another prequel. So he's just pumping it out. He's kind of the man right now.
Yeah, 1883. I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's like a blessing, man. I couldn't imagine if I had to be on any show right now, especially for like our demographic and fan base and like on brand, like Yellowstone is like a godsend. It's like such a cool blessing that, you know what I mean, of all the shows,
Yeah.
To be a part.
It's super fitting too for what you do and your sound and the darkness of it. Perfect.
yeah, bodes well for the brand. So hopefully it just keeps landing songs on there, you know, because I think, you know, just being a part of that culture is super special.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at, like, you know how they put, like, say Yellowstone will have like a soundtrack of all the artists that have been on the show, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I wonder if Kevin Costner's on there because he plays country music.
I think he does. I think he actually has a few songs on there.
He probably does. I wouldn't think he wouldn't, but
It's probably in his contract.
I think the way it sounds like when he goes on little tours and stuff, I think he's so overwhelmed with the movies over all the years and the shows that, like, his piece, I think, is with the music. He likes the music.
It's probably like a really good outlet for him, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So he played at our state fair a few years ago. I didn't go, but
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, so you're not a diehard Kevin Costner fan?
No, I mean, I like his movies.
Yeah, yeah, his movies are good.
I wasn't gonna go there and fanboy out and be like,
yeah.
sign my shirt.
Yeah, I get that.
That's great. Man, that's a wild. You thought this guy was just coming in there messed up, just blowing smoke.
He wasn't the Taylor Sheridan of now. Imagine him telling you, "Oh, I got a show coming up, Yellowstone," and it ended up being the fucking biggest show on TV.
Yeah,
you know, it's pretty incredible.
Did he even tell you who was in it or anything like that?
I didn't even care.
Yeah, you didn't think it was real.
I get so much smoke blown up my ass, bro, and my expectations so goddamn high that I gotta see it to believe it. You know what I mean? You could, you know, because especially if somebody's faded or if I'm drunk or some shit, you know what I mean? Who knows what I've told people when I'm fucked up? You know what I mean?
Same here. Same here.
I can't even imagine the bullshit I fucking told people.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just better to do that stuff sober. But yeah, no complaints.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'll definitely hopefully they pitch you on some more. Just keep it rolling.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, Paramount's ridiculous. You know, so big, million shows going on at once. It sounds like.
I know. I'm actually working with another writer. He's in a band called The Brevet. Eric, very talented dude. And him and I kind of like have started this like project where we're just gunning for shows, you know, like a sync project. And it's been so cool, man. You can really write very like themonic and like theatrical shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know, like one of the biggest inspirations I had for when I started writing like The Phantom and the Black Crow, and that those two albums and Hollow Beyond the Thicket, my biggest inspiration. Have you ever seen the movie The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward with Brad Pitt?
Yes. Yeah. It's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like a 3-hour movie, but it's so good. It's, you know, it's slow, but it's good, you know. Casey Affleck kills it. And not to mention, who does the score is Nick Cave. Okay. And so I'm a huge Nick Cave fan, based more because of this soundtrack. So I would just like really paint this, like the music in that movie is so captivating. Like it honestly is like, you know, when soundtracks are so good that it almost is like another character. Like remember the Batman that just came out?
I haven't seen it.
Well, I'm sure you've heard the song. Dun, 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 dun. You know what I mean? It's
oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
You know that song, right? Like it plays just a massive part in the whole movie. And you know, when it comes on, it's going to get fucking crazy. You know what I mean? You know, it's going to get serious. You get to tense up. Like,
yeah, it's its own thing.
It's its own thing. So that was kind of how it hit me in Jesse James movie, the Nick Cave. And so I kind of like would think about that and like draw a whole like world in my head to where these songs would like be perfect for this. Like it was almost like I'm writing a soundtrack, you know?
Yeah.
but in a more song structured. So there's, verse, chorus, bridge, da 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 da. But yeah, I don't know how I went on that tangent, but
No, we're talking about movies and music.
Oh yeah, that I'm working with Eric. So like some of the stuff we're writing is so cool, and it's just so like it's just for a TV show or a movie. You know what I mean?
Right. That
cool. I like that stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely in college. I took some video editing classes and whatnot, and one of the assignments they gave us was like, here's the trailer to the new Star Trek movie. Use whatever audio you want to make it come to life. So it was just got the visual with no sound whatsoever. And that was the most fun I ever had on a project. I'm thinking of music, I'm sound effects and all that. That was fun to edit. I could really get into scoring a movie. That would be, if you can get your foot in that, that'd be fun.
Dude, how it's so exciting to add like music to life. You know what I mean? Like music to action. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like shooting a music video, I guess. But
right.
I guess. I don't, maybe not.
Have you ever spoke with DJ Clever about any of that sort of stuff? About like what? Scoring movies or anything? No, I spoke with him once long time ago about that was like one of his goals. Like he wants to score a movie.
Well, he's like a producer too, so he can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I guess we all are producers in the sense of like producing that kind of stuff, but he knows how to work a lot of the, synth and keys and samples and, so yeah, I'm sure he would be really good at that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I haven't seen that he got into that, but that makes sense.
Yeah. Be a good fit.
Clev. Yeah, for sure.
I'll have to since we were talking about taxidermy, I'll have to get you a coyote head or something mounted.
You won't.
Yeah, man. I'll hook you up. I gotta go catch a coyote first.
Fuck. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do. No, I don't want to sound cruel, but yeah. I don't want to know how the sausage is made, dude. I just want to.
Everything is humane as possible, because I got to make that clear, because the people that might listen to this will be like, "What the hell? Some Silence of the Lambs shit going on?" Like, no, everything's done legally, followed by the law, humanely as possible. And it's usually for a purpose. Like there's sheep farmer down the road. They're killing a sheep. I'll go over there and catch, whatever the nuisance problem may be. So time and place for everything. Coyote's my favorite animal. So, but it's just hard to live with them sometimes.
Yeah, you heard it. Yeah, circle of life, I guess.
Right on.
Yeah. But yeah, so that'd be great.
What else do we need to say before we end on this?
I would put that thing on stage.
Oh, yes. Dude, that brings me another crazy story. Have you heard of a band called He Is Legend?
Of course.
Yeah, I love them. Well, Skylar, my brother became good friends with them out in LA, and they came to town, and my brother was telling them that I do taxidermy work. And I was also in art school at the time. I had to come up with this crazy project. So I was like, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone sort of deal. They wanted a stage prop thing I took up there. I made it was essentially 3 coyotes in one. It was like a 7-foot coyote that overtook the drum set on stage. And I elongated the jaw and had like these demon eyes. It was fucking crazy.
What?
It was wild, man. I'll have to show it to you.
Okay.
It's just funny. Stage prop coyotes. You just never know when you need them.
Yeah, fair enough.
I ended up selling that piece to a guy that lived on the north side, and he was a dandy, to say the least. That guy was crazier than hell. I opened the door. He came out the door with a 50 cal and like this dog that was huge. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "You called me. You called me, man. I got the delivery here." He's like, "Oh yeah, come on in." And this crazy house project, it was like 3 stories that went all the way up. He had an alligator pit in the living room with a gator in it, with like a glass that you could walk over the top of it.
What?
Yeah, crazy shit.
Is he like super rich?
Yeah, he had some money, you know. I get what he did was like he made these crazy looking houses for a living. He was on some home remodel shows and all kinds of shit. But he was definitely an oddball. Some of the things he was showing me, but he ended up getting that coyote, and he had a stripper pole that went 3 stories high, and he put that coyote on the pole. He was like, "Next time the girls come over, they'll be out here dancing with the coyote." It's like, what the fuck?
Where was this?
North side of Indianapolis.
Oh shit! All right, now it makes sense. No, I'm just joking.
I'll give you the address.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm gonna get off here. I gotta throw some food on the grill before I
Yeah,
start
appreciate
mowing
it.
the
Let me
grass.
get it up. I want to try to get this up.
We didn't mention this either. Where should you have a website? People could hit you up on that and social media?
Yeah, wildthecoyote.com.
Okay.
That's where the online store is too. So that's, get over there if you want to get merch. I got new merch coming out. Couple weeks. Gonna be the best merch I've put out, that's for sure. And then follow me on social media, Wild the Coyote, on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. So I appreciate it, man.